on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I finally have some good news for you Vikings fans. We have just signed free agent cornerback Stefon Gilmore to a one-year, $10 million deal. So coming up on today's show, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on that signing. How does he fit in with what Brian Flores likes to do on that side of the football? And also talk about the defense as a whole. As you start looking at the talent at all three levels on that side of the football, there's really no excuse for this group to not be top 10, if not top 5 in the entire NFL. Obviously led by Brian Flores. And then also I want to give you guys my thoughts on the Vikings win over the Cleveland Browns yesterday. Just kind of want to show some love to a couple players who, I think potentially earned themselves a roster spot, which originally heading into this preseason weren't going to make the team. So I'll just tell you guys my thoughts there. But first off, let's dive into Stefon Gilmore. So it is a one-year, $10 million deal, and he is heading to the Minnesota Vikings. The biggest connection here with Gilmore and the Vikings is obviously Brian Flores, as he was actually a part of the Patriots coaching staff when Stefon Gilmore won his Defensive Player of the Year award back in 2019. And, Stefon Gilmore, 33 years old, played with the Patriots, Panthers this past season with the Cowboys, was with the Colts for a little bit. He was actually a part of the 33-0 comeback. I would never forget the whip route Justin Jefferson ran on Stefon Gilmore, as I am sure in practice, number 18 is going to be talking smack to Gilmore, saying, remember when I busted your ass on that whip route in the greatest comeback of all time when he just put his foot in the ground and he made him look silly? That's probably the biggest play I think about in Stefon Gilmore's career in terms of with the Minnesota Vikings. But, Stefon Gilmore, he's going to add some veteran experience. He was still very effective with the Dallas Cowboys this past season, even though he is getting up there in age. And listen, the Vikings needed this. If you look at the defense as a whole, I think it is a very good unit. I love what we've done at the edge department. Even though we did lose Danielle Hunter, we kind of went a little money ball route, and we just pick and chose a lot of, different styles of players who can, live up to the Danielle Hunter, production that he was putting out there. I mean, I love Grenard. I think he can be a true top edge rusher on a unit. Then you also got Andrew Van Ginkel, who's, his versatility fits in perfectly with what Flores likes to do. And then, you hope the young kid, Dallas Turner, if he pops year one, you're talking about this group in probably top 7, top 10 in the NFL type of conversation. And, obviously you still got some question marks on the interior of the defensive line. But, hey, Bo Richter's playing well. Obviously I don't assume him to get real reps during the year. But, you still got Harrison Phillips, Jerry Tillery, Jonathan Bullard. You got serviceable defensive tackles. And then I love the linebacker group. I love Ivan Pace. I love what Blake Cashman does on the football field. And I think they complement each other very well. But then you got to the cornerback room. You're kind of just looking at it this is almost a practice squad level cornerback group. But now that you add Stefon Gilmore, it doesn't put all the pressure that was originally on Byron Murphy to be that lockdown corner. I think we are going to see a better year out of Murphy than we are expecting if they did not sign Stefon Gilmore. And point being on that is, all of the expectation, all of the weight of that cornerback group was on Murphy to have a fantastic season. But at least now he has a running mate in Gilmore, who has done it at the highest level, and I think we're going to even see more out of Murphy. And plus, you have that veteran leadership, you have that veteran voice for every single practice with Stefon Gilmore. I think that's going to be huge. So if you're rolling out, obviously the Vikings love to run a lot of multiple safety sets. So if let's just say your final 11 on defense is something of the likes of Grenard, Van Ginkel, Harrison Phillips, let's just say Dallas Turner. And then they go, Jonathan Bullard or Jerry Tillery, the other defensive lineman. And then you go Cashman, Pace. And then let's just say you got Gilmore, Byron Murphy. And then you got 2 safeties, or you could go 3 safeties, take one of the defensive linemen out there. The Vikings aren't normally running 3 cornerbacks on the field a whole lot, obviously, unless they are in nickel. So, you got 2 of the best cornerbacks, or 2 of the better cornerbacks that we have seen on this Vikings defense in a while in Gilmore and Murphy, which is, fantastic. And plus, he paired them up with the safety group of Smith, Bynum, Metellus. Like, this defense as a whole is extremely talented. And if the Vikings are going to want to make a playoff run, if we want to see ourselves, playing meaningful football in December, January, it's going to be on the backs of the defense. And I believe in them. I think this group is going to have a big-time year. They're going to need to hold teams to around 20, 21 points a game, if not less than that. And then you got to tell your offense, go get 3 touchdowns. And then you would hope that Kevin O'Connell and all the weapons you have around Sam Darnold are good enough to generate at least 21 points, 24 points every single game. And I think this Vikings team is going to be successful. I'll put this hot take out here. And you guys know I'm a very optimistic Vikings fan. Maybe I drink too much of the purple Kool-Aid or whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to say the Vikings go 10-7, and they win a playoff game. I understand how much of a disaster the last kind of couple of months have been with Mekhi Blackmon tearing his ACL, what happened to Khyree Jackson, J.J. McCarthy, the Jordan Addison carted off. I hear all that. But you look at this group from what we thought about it 3 months ago, when optimism was at an all-time high, what did we really lose? Yes, the Mekhi Blackmon injury stinks. I hate that. But now you're adding Stefon Gilmore. Yes, the Jordan Addison situation, whatever that is off the field, and obviously him being carted off with an ankle injury versus the Browns, that's unfortunate. But you had Tristan Jackson. You had Jalen Naylor step up in the preseason. And I'm not saying they are as talented as obviously Addison is, but they can be serviceable at those wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 spots. It's all going to come down to Sam Darnold. Like, if Sam Darnold plays just okay football, this will be a good football team. And I understand Vikings fans. I think it's just in our blood to probably, be a little negative when things get tough, because we just naturally think, here we go. The NFL is doing it to the Vikings again. Oh, the football gods, they love hammering down on Vikings fans. I understand that, but I still think this team is loaded. I think we are still the most underrated football team in the National Football League. There's just too much talent. I mean, even when I'm walking around the Chat Sports studios, like, I got people coming up to me saying, like, do you think the Vikings will take a quarterback first overall? Do I think the Vikings will take a quarterback first overall? We are not going to have the first overall pick. Or I've seen conversation on Twitter where it's Vikings fans talking about what's more likely, them to make the playoffs or them to have the first overall pick. And we're saying the first overall pick. I think we are not giving enough credit to the other 52 people on this roster, and everybody is just so keened in on the quarterback. And I understand that. It's the most important position in all of sports. But also, the other 52 guys, they help elevate the quarterback play. And when you have Kevin O'Connell, he's going to elevate it. I just think everybody needs to pump the brakes on the freaking negativity I've seen around Vikings fans. I mean, now we just signed Gilmore. The defense is looking stacked. They played their ass off yesterday. Obviously, it was a preseason game, and it was just backups on backups, but I just like what I see. I like that MO. I love what Brian Flores, his philosophy. And now I just trust in Kevin O'Connell to at least have a top 15 offense. Like, the Vikings offense, we're not asking them to be top 5 for us to make the playoffs. If this defense is as good as I think it is, and it can be top 10, top 7 in the league, if you just have the most mid offense in the NFL, you are probably still winning 9 to 10, 11 games this season. So everybody pump the brakes on the negativity. This is some positive news, and just fired up that Stefon Gilmore is a Viking. But I do want to wrap up today's show giving shout-outs to a couple players yesterday who I think played their ass off for the Vikings. Most importantly, Lewis Cine. Now, I don't want to be negative about the Lewis Cine situation, but this kind of looked like the Vikings trying to just get a late-round pick for him. What do I mean by that? He played the whole game. He led the Vikings in every statistical category on defense, and they were running defenses in the second half that were not even, I don't even think in Brian Flores' playbook. I literally think it was just to up Lewis Cine's trade value. So don't be shocked if the Baltimore Ravens trade him for a 6th-round pick this week. So serious. I don't think this was a performance where it's like, oh, Lewis Cine's making the roster now. I think the Vikings were trying to up his trade value, considering they only have 3 picks for next season. I think this is, their kind of way of, potentially getting a 6th or 7th for him. But, Lewis Cine did play his ass off. If he does end up staying on this team, obviously we'll be rooting for him. But I just thought the Vikings, that was them just trying to up his trade value. A couple of receivers here. Tristan Jackson looks the part. He's bigger than I thought, and he's also faster than I thought. Specifically on that jet sweep, when he put his foot in the ground, I did not think he had that top-end speed to him. So shout out to him. I really think he could be a wide receiver 3 in this league. He's just got more juice than even a guy like KJ Osborne, and his route running's really smooth. He's just been awesome, man. Like, shout out to Tristan Jackson out of Syracuse. Who would have thought? And he's also a guy that's bounced from practice squad to 53-man roster. So I'm always going to be rooting for him as he's just worked his ass off here in the league. But also Jalen Nailor. I don't want to take a victory lap right now and say, oh, I was right about Jalen Nailor, but this is a guy I've been holding out on for years, as I have always been a believer in him. And, it's pretty sweet when you personally, when you say oh, that guy's going to be a stud, and then they don't really get the opportunity for 2 years with the Vikes, and now we're finally probably seeing his breakout this season. I mean, it's pretty cool. But, point being with the wide receiver group, even if Addison has to miss time, whether it's the suspension or the ankle injury, I'm feeling all right about this group. I mean, you still got dogs there. And plus Justin Jefferson makes the life of those guys so much easier. Justin Jefferson is 2007 LeBron on the Cavs, where he is just elevating all of his teammates. So you will see the best out of Tristan Jackson, because he'll be getting one-on-ones. Jalen Nailor will be getting one-on-ones. That's all Jefferson does. He just hands out one-on-ones for his teammates. So, I'm feeling pretty confident about this group. How about this? Shout out to Nick Mullins. He looked good yesterday. But that's about it. I'll say on the quarterback room, and also Jaren Hall, even though he didn't really play too much. But that's the news of the day. Vikings signed Stefon Gilmore for a 1-year, $10 million deal. Early morning video. Yeah, man, I woke up to this news. My eyes are probably still crusty in this. So appreciate you guys watching. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.